And I got to have a lot of fun doing this. But to be honest with you, it gives me no pleasure to be so political. In fact, I hate drama to the nth degree. Yet every week we come here 3 times a week and we end up on the subject of politics. But today is a special day because when someone decides to call someone the greatest communicator from the White House, you would think that would be the press office for the President of the United States, right? But the press secretary decided to pass off that accolade to the illustrious President Biden, who likes to whisper at people or call them effing names like Peter Ducci. So, David, I know when you mentioned this earlier on today that we were kind of torn between this and the toxic train in Ohio or the murders again. There's so much news, or the balloons, or the not balloons, not alien aircraft. We don't know what it is flying over. We're picking on this single statement by Jean-Pierre that President Biden is the best communicator in the White House. David, I know that kind of got you going a little bit, but I'm just like,
I got to tell you, Stuart, when I heard Karine Jean-Pierre say this kind of thing, and excuse my French, because she's originally from Haiti and that's a French name, so I say that. And when I communicate, I want to make sure that I sound right, I use the right words, I enunciate properly, I speak clearly. Joe Biden does none of that. If he doesn't have the cue cards in front of him, and he doesn't have Jim Henson behind him holding him up as a marionette, Joe Biden looks foolish as hell. Now, since his presidency started in January of 2021, you look at the previous 2 presidents, love him or hate him, Trump and Obama. If there was one thing the 2 of them did really, really effectively, it was communicate. They addressed the media. They spoke well.
I don't know about spoke well. They spoke.
Stuart, hold on. I would say that Obama, with his speechwriters, the way he presented and talked and the emotion and everything as a communicator, he's top. Bill Clinton, top drawer guy. These guys are communicators. Joe Biden is the antithesis of a communicator. And if you're saying he's the best in the White House, it explains a hell of a whole lot of what's wrong in the Biden administration. Now, part of communicating is to deliver to the people certain information, comfort, making people feel good in a difficult time. And let's be realistic. We've gone through a pretty crappy, hellish time, right? Between COVID and now inflation in the United States and the economy and a lot of other challenges. It hasn't been an easy period. But let's go back to FDR. Let's go back to a Winston Churchill. When they communicated, and this was on radio, folks. This was not even on TV, but on radio. There was no social media at the time, right? Could you imagine Winston Churchill on Facebook?
Just so you know, he gave 881 reports. Harry Truman gave 324. Dwight Eisenhower 193. But let me just clip to the case just to give you. Barack Obama gave 163. George W. 210. Clinton 193. Donald Trump in 4 years, because they all had 8, gave 88. And in 2 years, Joseph R. Biden gave 21.
Yeah, so this is my point. The people need to hear from the leadership. And when you let Kamala Harris talk, there's no leadership. When you let Jen Psaki, who lies through her teeth, and then Karine Jean-Pierre, who continues to spew lies, okay?
Are they lies? No, if they said it, David, it's the truth. Right. Because they don't misrepresent the White House ever. They don't ever misspeak ever.
My point is that with Joe Biden, to stand up there, first of all, not to communicate with the people is one thing. But then when he finally opens his mouth, it almost sounds like a bumbling idiot. And I know a lot of people are sitting here going, once again, you're trashing the Democrats. Please listen to what he says. He spent close to 2 years insulting half of America. took a page out of Hillary Clinton's book and decided to insult people. If you call that a great communicator, someone who in his inauguration speech said, I'm going to be the healer and I'm going to bring people together. If this is the way you communicate healing, please don't be a therapist. The way he tries to deal with things, he's a 20th century politician working in 2023. This is the 21st century. The demands of the people are much more in a communication world. And look at what we're doing. Social media, press conferences, one-on-one interviews, you name it. I mean, in his last 60 minutes interview, he lied about documents. He lied about a lot of things, right? Get away with it. But if this is the communication from the White House, it's a big trouble, Stuart. I really, and I can go on for another 20 minutes, but Stuart, I want to give you a chance. I think that Joe Biden, if this is what the Democrats believe is their best foot forward in 2024, yeah, sure. Please do me a favor, keep him there.
David, I can't disagree with you. Jean-Pierre stands at the podium, avoiding to answer questions, directing reporters to the DOJ that will not respond. And instead of saying, I won't respond because I'm told not to respond, or be honest with the American people, it's okay because they're Democrats. The minute a Republican decides to deflect, all kinds of names get called. You know, The View, or the lack of The View, drinks Kool-Aid all day long. You know, there was a nomination that came out yesterday, a female. They are going to trash an immigrant, non-white presidential candidate and a woman like there's no tomorrow. The White House is going to villainize everyone.
Oh, they're going to probably take a page out of The View's book. They're probably watching The View going, I wonder what Joy Behar is saying. Let's spew that out the next press conference. Let's trash Nikki Haley because if The View says it, it must be good.
Right. And so, again, I didn't want to get on the Nikki Haley thing because it gets a separate story altogether, but you mentioned it earlier today. And I'm very happy that we have a female immigrant, you know,
Candidate.
American. She's a child of immigrant parents, first generation American, non-white, female. In other words, she has a trifecta, what everyone in America wants. The only thing she's missing is she's not gay or transgender. You know, that would be the trifecta. But the Democrats aren't going to coalesce around an accomplished woman minority. They're going to destroy her. And, you know, the Biden office sits there and destroys everyone. They lie about it. They deny it because it's all about dinero. And, you know, I hope that Congress isn't blowing hot air, and I hope they're going to really address these lies and under the securities and actually get control of
But then the Democrats
politics.
are going to accuse the Republicans of, you know, headhunting, and all they want to do is to create these committees and waste taxpayers' time, because we didn't do that during the Trump administration, during the Russia collusion business and all the rest of the crap. To me, the joke, and this is the big joke, when the United States pulled out of Afghanistan, it was a PR nightmare. And if you call that communication, phenomenal. He says he's a great communicator. And here he was, and he goes to beg dictators for oil and screws that up. Well, if that's a good communicator, I don't know what is. And then when you stand up and you simply lie to the population on the State of the Union about your accomplishments that are not yours, but ignore the facts and the things that really matter to Americans, if you call that a great communicator, I don't understand that. So I think that what's happened by the statement by the press secretary is simple for me. The Democrats are living on La La Land. They must have smoked a joint or something, that they believe that they are just Teflon, perfect, infallible. Call it whatever you want. But whatever they're smoking, they should share with the rest of the world because it's a complete illusion.
Well, they want to share with the rest of the world. But to be honest with you, what irritates me is, and again, we've got our smart accountant who listens and then trumps all things. It's like the White House saying the previous office, the Trump administration, never detected these balloons. Okay. They weren't detected. Is that the president's fault?
No,
the military fault?
This is the way
Why?
Because this is the way the White House wants to communicate. Instead of getting in front of it, instead of dealing with it, we deflect. We learned that from Obama. Obama was a great deflector. He walked away Teflon. Nobody touched him. You look at Biden, and I don't care if you're what newspaper or media, you're starting to see that this isn't who you wanted in power. Okay? That frankly, there's no doubt why Democrats want in 2024 to change the candidate and hope he's a one-term president, because he is frightening. And to stand up there and look, I love it when Jean-Pierre calls Canada Canada. You can't even get your largest trading partner's name right. It just shows me the incompetence of this White House. I get it. You could say all you want about mistakes, but you don't have the right. You don't have the flexibility.
David, do you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to emulate President Biden. And when I'm telling you that we're going to do something, and we're going to do it bigger and better than anyone else. Doesn't that sound like Donald Trump, except he says it with a loud, gregarious voice? They're talking heads. But this office lies. It's a problem. They try.
But take it a step further. It's not just lies. Yeah. It's foot and mouth disease. Okay? You have an incompetent transport secretary. You stay silent. You went through Roe v. Wade. You stayed silent.
Omar is calling for Buttigieg's resignation, by the way. Omar.
But I'm saying, the president of the United States, who's supposed to be the leader, that people are looking up to. You have 300 plus million Americans, let alone the world, looking for guidance. And that has for generations been the beauty of the American president. And whether you loved the president or you hated the president, there was a speech, there was a moment, there was something that galvanized. There's nothing galvanizing right now. There's nothing happening right now. Putin is making fun of Biden. North Korea is making fun of him. Iran's making fun of him. They all made fun of Trump too, but they were scared of Trump. They're not scared of Biden. Throwing balloons over the United States and Canada, and I'm not going to talk about how feckless Trudeau is, but when you know that you don't have a good, powerful leader who can communicate and rally the allies, your friends, your people, Stuart, to me, that's a terrible. And if this is the best in the White House, holy mackerel! No wonder your country's in trouble.
David, I can't agree more. But on that note, we're reaching our quarter hour. We're starting our third year of podcasts. And we need to grow a little bit. I think we need to change. I think we need to find our audience better, more reliable stories other than calling Democrats liars and Republicans.
We're waiting for you folks to send us the stories you want to hear. Please do. I really appreciate I get text messages and from a lot of people, very political. But then every once in a while, I get a really good story that I think is worthwhile jumping on. So send it over, folks.
Yep. David, on that note, I want to wrap up our quarter hour. I want you to say goodbye. I want you to have a great day. And we're going to see you all on Friday with a newer, better us.
I don't know. I don't get that. Thanks, everyone. Have yourself a wonderful day.
I'm going to whisper to everyone and tell everyone that we are the best network out there. Say goodbye, David.